From what I can tell, not a lot of great comics are moving on Instagram right now.
Welcome back to another video. This really popped when I saw it. That to me is a monster increase. Again, this book got hot. This book is ready to go higher.
So let's jump right into it.
We are back today with another statue review from Diamond Select Toys. Without further ado, let's get into the review.
What is up, boys and girls? This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles, and thank you for joining me for another video here on the channel. Today, of course, we're going to be going through Instagram and the consignment pages to see what has been selling over the past month or so. But before we get started in the video, like always, I want to remind you guys, if you're not a current sub of the channel, do me a favor, hit that sub button for me. We're giving away a copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 16 once we get to 7,000 subs. Also, do me a favor, hit that like button because it really does help the channel out. And if you're interested in merch, I want you guys to check out this limited edition Garbage Pail Kids card featuring Mind Blown Mighty. The links are in the description of this video. Now, with that said, let's go to Instagram and see what has been selling over the past month. So the first book that caught my eye was this one. It is a copy of Werewolf by Night number 32 in a CGC 2.5 with off-white pages. This one offered by Elite Comics 11 for $435. So I want to remind you, I do not know what these books actually sold for, but you got to assume it's right around the asking price. Now, the first thing that crossed my mind was, man, this is a super low-grade copy of this book. And if you go check out eBay right now, there's probably about 200 copies for sale. So we know there's a ton of copies out there that can be had. So to pay up 400 and change for a super low grade copy, not sure I would have done it, but either way, we're going to check out the last GPA sales. And of course, the last sale right around December was exactly 435 bucks. The 90-day average was $405 on just 2 sales. The 12-month rolling average, $445 on 8 sales, and again 2023 was that exact same average at $445. Way back in 2022, the average was up at $778. We know this book has gotten crushed, but again, are you guys out there paying up for a 2.5 grade of this book? I'm not sure I would, but regardless, I hope whoever bought this book is a Super Moon Knight fan and this is all they could afford, because then that's totally fine. You just want to own the book. But either way, for me, I'd want to own a higher grade copy of this one. So the one book I'm consistently seeing sell right now is this. It is a copy of Amazing Fantasy number 15. This one offered up by Elite Comics 11 in a CGC 2.5 with off-white to white pages. There are some notes on the label that read tape on interior cover and interior. They were asking $25,499. Now, when it comes to AF-15, we all know presentation is everything. This one doesn't present too bad. The big deterrent, of course, in the top right-hand corner is that big chunk missing out of the cover, but the colors are nice, has a little bit of chipping. The spine is, not too bad, but regardless, let's go ahead and check out GPA to see what the current sales are. The last sale, according to them, was $23,750 just this month. The 90-day average was around that at $24,002 on just 3 sales. The 12-month rolling average, $23,754 on 11 sales, and that exact same amount was the 2023 average. In 2022, the average was $35,023. But if you check out the graph below, so you can see the AF-15 and the 2.5 where it is right now is definitely lower than where it was in 2020, 2021. But if you go back to 2018, it is definitely a lot higher than that, and that's what you want to see out of Silver Age big keys, consistently going higher. We're going to throw out some of those prices that happened in 2020, 2021, but regardless, I still think AF-15 is the best buy in comics right now. You can't get any better than this book, especially in lower grades. If it presents well in a 1.0 to about a 3.0, that's really where the sweet spot is, and I'm always seeing sales around that grade point. When you get into the 4.0s and higher, it starts to become where that's a lot of money that everybody is not going to be throwing around at a comic book, but I'm consistently seeing sales in the lower grades. Up next, also with Elite Comics 11, is a copy of Silver Surfer number 1, of course, the first solo titled series featuring Silver Surfer, and yes, that is a mouthful. Either way, we have a CGC 3.0 with slightly brittle pages, believe it or not, that sold around $289. At least that was the asking price. So I definitely wanted to check on this book because I know it has really taken a haircut like FF48 has. As we get into the GPA data, you can see the last sale, believe it or not, was $382 just this month. So this book was literally 30% off that price. The 90-day average was $312 on 6 sales. 12-month rolling average, $346 on 20 sales. In 2023, it was $356. And way back in 2022, $561. So as you can see, this book was offered at a discount probably because of those slightly brittle pages. But this is a book I actually been looking for because it is really cheap right now. Again, in mid to high grades, this book was almost $1,000 at one point. But again, $300 or a 3.0. I'd like to stay at like 4.0 or higher. That's just me for a Silver Age book when it's so cheap like this one is. Are you buying this book right now if you can get it for a deal? Guys, let me know down in the comments. You guys know I'm not a big modern comic collector, but this one always catches my eye. Whenever I see it, I'm really tempted to pick this book up. I'm a big J. Scott Campbell fan. So here we have a copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 601 in a 9.8 white pages that sold recently on Grails for $600. At least that's what the asking price was. I gotta assume that's what it sold close to. So we're gonna go check out GPA and see what the sales were. The last sale was exactly $600 this month. The 90-day average, $544 on 7 sales. The 12-month rolling average, $517 on 33 sales. In 2023, the average was $510. And way back in 2022, $364. So here we have a book that's gone up since 2022, which doesn't actually shock me because a lot of people right now, they're putting their money towards a lot of modern books, a lot of 9.8s. That's what I'm seeing right now on the market, a lot of inexpensive books. And if you're a J. Scott Campbell fan, why not own this book? To me, do I want to spend $600? Yes, I want to own this book in a 9.8. I think it would be worth it, but I don't want to spend this kind of money on a modern. I just don't think it's worth it. I always say this when I talk about this book or when he has that great Black Cat Spider-Man label, that if I could find a nice high-grade raw copy for cheap, I'm definitely willing to pick it up. If you're a modern collector, yes, I do think you want to own this book in a 9.8. It's just a great cover, great classic Mary Jane. You guys know I'm a huge Mary Jane fan and a Black Cat fan for that matter. So yes, if you're a big modern collector, I think this book is definitely worth it, especially if you like collecting J. Scott Campbell. So let's check out Diamond Comic Club, and they had a copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 9 and the first appearance of Electro for sale. Now they had this listed at $549, and at first glance I thought, wow, that was a pretty cheap price for a 2.5. But if you check out the book, there's some writing in the S in Spider-Man, although on the right hand side there's a little bit of a tear in the A as well. So again, a lower grade copy of this book, not sure how it's a 2.5, but CGC has this one graded at a 2.5 off-white to white pages. So let's check out GPA. The last sale for this book in a 2.5 was $630 in December. The 90-day average, $574 on 3 sales. The 12-month rolling average, $580 on 8 sales. In 2023, the average was $605, and in 2022, the average was $708. So a little bit of a dip, especially for this copy being a little bit worse for wear, but around the lines of a 2.5 ASM number 9. So the first thing I'm noticing, guys, and I'm thinking when I'm seeing these books, is that ASM Silver Age has been selling. We have an AF15, we have an ASM number 9. Whenever they come up in lower to mid grades, I feel like they sell rather quickly. So drop me comments down below. Let me know what you think about that. So I want to stick with Diamond Comic Club and talk about this book because it came up in this week's Hot 10 Breakdown of the Week. It is a copy of New Mutants 98 in a CGC 9.8, a white pager that they were asking $1,199. Now, I told you guys this on that video that I've been consistently seeing this book sell for $1,200, $1,300. For a long while, the floor seemed to be $14.99, and I tell you guys that that's really where I wanted to be in this book for the long term only. But now that I'm seeing it drop to around $1,200, you really have to wait until after Deadpool 3 comes out. Now, this book sold for probably right around that amount. We're going to check out GPA, and you can see the last sale was actually $1,260 this month. The 90-day average was $1,313. Look at the sales, guys. 45 copies of this book and a 9.8 sold in the last 3 months. The 12-month rolling average, $1,464, under 173 copies just in a 9.8. In 2023, the average was $1,475 on, again, 175 sales. And in 2022, the average was $1,673 at 193 sales. So this book is out there. I've been saying that from day one. There are so many copies of Mutants 98 out there. And even in a 9.8, too many copies exist. But again, I love the character of Deadpool. You know, I want to own the book for the long term. So around $1,200, if you're comfortable right now, jump in. If not, wait till after Deadpool 3 comes out. This book could actually go under $1,000 $1,000 in a 9.8. So again, if you own this book, now may be a great time to sell it if you're not married to it. But if it's not, kind of wait until after that movie comes out and let's see what happens. All right, so up next is a copy of Journey into Mystery number 85 and the first appearance of Loki. This one offered again by Diamond Comic Club in a CGC 4.0 with off-white pages, so good page quality on this book. And I think a 4.0 for this book is actually a really good sweet spot to get into this one. So again, they were asking $1,899, which I think is probably right on par, but as we do in this video, we're going to check GPA. So the last sale, believe it or not, was actually $2,036 way back in November of 2023, so a couple of months ago. 90-day average $2,095 on just 4 sales. The 12-month rolling average $2,190 on 9 sales. 2023 average $2,238 on 13 sales, and way back in 2022 $2,778. So this book is still falling, so keep that in mind. You can see it's really come down every year and is still dropping all the way down to $18.99 on this last sale, with actually great page quality. Off-white pages I consider pretty good for a Silver Age key. So again, this book is still coming down. Are we buying it here right now? Somebody is, but I consistently see this book for sale. Not a ton of copies, but 4.0, 3.0, 2.0, I consistently seeing being sold on IG. Not sure how fast it's selling, but I want to take a look at the chart at the bottom of this GPA graph. You could see for a while it did nothing, then it spiked up around 2020, and now it's all the way back down, I think, to where it actually should be. It might still fall a little bit, but again, if you're a big Loki fan, it's a must-own book. Big Thor fan, I also think it's a must-own book. But outside of that, we buying the first appearance of Loki right now? I'm not too sure, but either way, a lot more copies are coming to sale now that I see over the past year or so. Let's jump back to Elite Comics 11 and talk about a book that I rarely see for sale. So we went from Journey into Mystery 85, where I'm starting to see more copies come out, to this book where I never see. It is a copy of Marvel Preview number 7, presents Satana. If you guys don't know what this is, it's actually the first appearance of Rocket Raccoon. Now, Elite Comics 11 was offering this book at $375 for an 8.5, and I believe that says white pages there. It's a little bit off with the way it says it on CGC's label, but regardless, first glance, I thought that was a pretty decent price, and I think I was right, because when we jumped over to GPA, you can see the last sale for this book was actually also this month for $455. The 90-day average is also that $455 because there's only been one sale in the past 3 months. 12-month rolling average, $492 on 6 sales. And we're going to jump to the 2022 average because it was up at $601 on just 4 sales. So this book doesn't sell as often as you would think in an 8.5. Again, I rarely see it ever for sale. So again, $375 though was a decent price, and you figure the person probably paid less than that. Are you looking for the first appearance of Rocket Raccoon right now? I'm certainly not. But again, when you see books come up for sale that you don't see too often, I think people are going to jump in them. The problem is a lot of people stay away from these magazine size style books because people say they're a little bit hard to store, and they are, but if you're displaying their book, it's not that big of a deal. And I think for under $400, it really is a nice looking book and definitely can be had for cheap. And the last book we're going to see that sold this month is a copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 4. I tell you, a lot of Silver Age Spideys, they move quick. So this copy offered up by Elite Comics 11 in a 3.5 CGC with cream to off-white pages. So they were asking $1,049 for a 3.5. So right off the bat, I didn't think it was a bad price, but I tried to stay away from cream books. They just tend to get a lesser premium when you go ahead and sell them. But regardless, you can see the last sale according to GPA was $1,007 just this month. The 90-day average $1,036 on 6 sales. 12-month rolling average $1,120 on 25 sales. 2023, the average is $1,188, and way back in 2022, $1,478. So this book really has come down. ASM number 4. This is one of my favorite early Silver Age Spidey covers. I love the 4-square cover. So $1,000 for the 3.5. I don't think it's a big deal, but I do think the cream pages hurt the sale value of this book. But other than that, it presents really nice. You might want to try cracking this one out, trying to resubmit it to CGC, see if they change the page quality, because they are notorious for doing that, unfortunately. But either way, Silver Age Spider-Man always sells. So that's it for the Instagram sales video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. What am I taking away from this? When I go through these pages, not a lot of great books are being offered for sale right now. I see a lot of moderns, a lot of copper, and even a lot of bronze. Not a lot of Silver Age books. I know I showed you some of them today. I picked the better books out there that I thought that sold for decent prices. So I'm always trying to show you guys some of the good books that can be had. But all I'm seeing right now is fluff. A lot of $200 books, $250 books, and they're modern, they're copper. I did give you a modern with a J. Scott Campbell that I think, is a decent buy if you're a big J. Scott Campbell fan, if you're a big Spidey fan. I love those covers, but stick to some of the better books. They're not coming up for sale right now. When I've gone to shows, they're outrageously priced. When I do see them on IG, they're being sold right away. So what does that tell you? People are after silver right now because silver has gotten crushed. And some of them are still coming down, of course, but if you're a long-term collector like I am, I think you're in good hands. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics Collectibles saying thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.